All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is The Stupidity Epidemic, Why Critical Thinking is Dying. This is coming from the channel Simply Resilient Me. Let's check it out. Let's jump into it, guys.
You know, I really hesitated to make this video because, well, it's probably going to get me into a little trouble. And I can guarantee you, I will have hovered over that publish button for a long time before I uploaded this. But here we are. Because sometimes you just have to talk about the elephant in the room. And today, that elephant is stupidity. Let's be honest, stupidity is everywhere, thanks to the internet, and pretending it isn't is not helping anyone.
I'm guessing she's a cancer survivor?
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here to share information to keep you happy, healthy, and well-informed, at the risk of pissing you off. Because if having breast cancer twice taught me anything, it's that some things are worth saying, even if they ruffle a few feathers.
Absolutely,
for
always.
For the greater good, right? This isn't meant to offend anyone. It's just my way of pointing out a universal truth that we can all learn from. And more than that, my intention here is always to make you think, to challenge your assumptions and maybe see the world a little differently.
All right, let's go, guys. The nature of human stupidity.
Before you get defensive, let's be clear. Stupidity isn't just a lack of intelligence, and I am not calling anyone stupid. You can have a genius IQ and still make decisions that make people question whether your brain is on vacation.
Like maybe in the terms of like common sense.
And as history has proven, some of the most powerful people in the world have made some of the dumbest choices imaginable. So let's define it. Stupidity isn't just about not knowing things. It's about refusing to think critically. It's about repeating nonsense until it sounds like wisdom. Voltaire once said, the more often a stupidity is repeated, the more it gets the appearance of wisdom. And
so Voltaire is a famous philosopher. He's French, born in the late 1600s, died in the moderately late 1700s from Paris, France.
The more often a stupidity is repeated, the more it gets the appearance of wisdom. And history has proven him right. Think about how people used to believe that bleeding someone with leeches could cure them of illness, or how tulip bulbs in the 1600s became more expensive than houses because of irrational market speculation. True story. Google.
Yeah, like the tulip crisis or something like that.
Anyway, if you hear something enough times, even if it makes no sense, it starts to sound like a fact. And suddenly a ridiculous idea becomes an unshakable belief and people are swearing by it like it's gospel. Thanks, Voltaire, for pointing out that particular nightmare.
So far, as of right now, I mean, this is just complete brilliance here. To be honest, she's right on every single turn. People, like the more you get stuck inside of an echo chamber, the more you actually believe that everything that's being said and 100% of it is actual factual, guys. I would always say, research, do your own type of research, specifically on topics that are, let's say, detrimental to society, at least, guys, right? You form your own opinions, and if you just so happen to come up with the same opinion that some group has, that's interesting.
Now, these days, the word stupid is thrown around a lot by all sorts of people. Right. The internet and social media have made it almost acceptable and commonplace as a catch-all insult. Whether it's used to dismiss opposing views or to simply sound tough and edgy, it has become a lazy substitute for genuine critical thought. On a personal note, I was recently called stupid, not because I did or said something foolish, but simply because I disagreed with someone and I backed up my comment with facts that were readily available. I'm not going to dive into what the discussion was about because it's really not relevant here. But it goes to show how quickly some people resort to labeling others as stupid when they are confronted with contradictory evidence and a different opinion.
Exactly.
Now, before we go any further, let's make one thing clear.
That happens every day here.
Ignorance and stupidity are not the same thing. Ignorance is simply not knowing something. It's a lack of information. I am quite literally ignorant of a lot of things, and I have no problem admitting that.
Right, as am I.
Stupidity, on the other hand, is refusing to think critically.
To acknowledge it.
Even when the information is right in front of you.
Right.
Ignorance can be fixed with learning. Stupidity, that takes a little more work.
Yeah, guys, it's definitely absolutely scary whenever you do encounter someone who hears a truth in front of them, but says, you know what, emotionally that makes me feel bad, so I'm not going to go ahead and acknowledge the actual truth of the matter, guys. That's absolutely frightening. Like I understand what she's saying here, difference between like ignorance and stupidity, but sometimes they kind of go hand in hand, guys.
Ignorance can be fixed with learning. Stupidity, that takes a little more work because it often requires unlearning bad habits, questioning one's own biases, and making the effort to think beyond convenience. In fact, there have been numerous studies on human stupidity that reveal it's not just random or inherent. It is very often rooted in cognitive biases and social conditioning. It turns out that what we casually dismiss as stupidity is actually way more complex than a simple lack of knowledge. Enter Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German theologian who, in the 1940s, argued that stupidity is actually more dangerous than evil. Why? Because evil has intent. Evil knows what it's doing. Stupidity, on the other hand, can be manipulated, weaponized, and used by evil without even realizing it. Think of it as evil's unsuspecting sidekick, like a villain's henchman who blindly follows orders, never questioning why they're holding the detonator to destroy their own life. Bonhoeffer didn't see stupidity as an issue of intelligence, but rather of a moral failure, and unwillingness to think critically. He believed that stupidity thrives in environments where people surrender independent thought in favor of group ideology, propaganda, social pressure, or blind allegiance to authority. In other words, it's not that people are inherently stupid. It's that they stop questioning, they stop analyzing, and they allow themselves to be swept along by the tide of collective thinking. They've willingly, sometimes unknowingly, abandoned their capacity for critical thinking. And here's the kicker. Bonhoeffer also pointed out that stupidity and power go hand in hand. The more power someone has, the more likely they are to stop thinking critically and just start being, stupid. That's because power isolates people from honest feedback. Once you surround yourself with enough yes men, your grip on reality starts to slip. I stumbled on Bonhoeffer's work recently when the algorithm put it on my feed, and I was completely fascinated by his insight.
Yeah, I can tell you this right now. I'm going to go pretty much dig deeply into whatever this man has published. It seems like something that I would love reading a lot, actually.
How power can dull critical thinking and his theory of stupidity.
Let's go ahead and notate that.
If you're curious, I highly recommend checking out some of his writings or videos. It's an interesting perspective worth exploring, in my opinion. And this leads me to Charles Bukowski's point. The problem with the world is that intelligent people are full of doubts.
He was a very edgy man, guys.
While the stupid ones are full of confidence. Ever noticed how the loudest, most self-assured voices in the room aren't always the ones making the most sense?
Right.
That's because truly intelligent people question themselves, their ideas, and their understanding of the world. They know they might be wrong. They accept input from others. Meanwhile, those who are completely convinced of their own brilliance often lack the self-awareness to realize they might not know what they're talking about. Confidence is great, but when it's paired with ignorance, it's a dangerous mix. Number 1, ask questions. If someone is confidently wrong, sometimes the best thing you can do is ask, why do you think that?
Oh, no. If you do that, you're going to watch it melt. You're going to watch it melt. They're going to try to get onto some type of like moral superiority type, plateau, and they're going to stay right there on their soapbox, okay? Spouting the most emotional, non-logical nonsense you possibly can ever want to hear, while you're trying to tell them, hey, bro, this is really what's happening here. But you know what? They're not going to believe you. They're not going to believe you at all because, again, it goes against their emotions. And when you start to, conflate emotions with like literal fact, I can no longer trust your opinion.
If their answer sounds like it comes from some poorly written conspiracy blog, you know you're dealing with some high-grade industrial strength nonsense. Number 2, be aware of your own blind spots. Stupidity is not just other people's problems. We all face times where we lack intelligence or knowledge of something.
Absolutely.
The trick is to recognize when we are being the fool in the conversation and adjust accordingly. And spoiler alert, it happens to the best of us. No one is immune.
New information should change your opinion.
Don't mistake confidence for competence. Some of the most foolish ideas are delivered with the most certainty. Just because someone speaks loudly and assertively doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. Think Nuke LaLoosh. Remember that scene in Bull Durham where Nuke, the rookie pitcher, yells, "I want to announce my presence with authority," but he has no idea what he's doing?
No.
Why are you shaking me off?
Wait, that's a copyright, guys. Hold on.
Hold on, guys. Confidence doesn't necessarily mean competence. Number 4, recognize when to walk away. There are some arguments you just can't win because, brace yourself, emotions. Some people like being stupid. It's comfortable. Thinking is hard, which is why, as Carl Jung pointed out, most people would rather judge than think. If someone is determined to live in their little bubble of nonsense, sometimes the best thing you can do is let them.
Right, let them.
They will figure it out one way or another.
Eventually.
Hopefully. Number 5, fact check yourself before you wreck yourself. In a world where misinformation spreads faster than a cute dog video, take a minute to research before you share something. Look at reputable sources, cross-check information. Be willing to change your mind if new evidence comes to light, because the only thing worse than encountering stupidity is contributing to it.
Listen, you guys send me a lot of videos on topics that I have no idea about, right? Then you guys send me more and more and more and more, and then we kind of start going down a trend, let's say. But I then obviously end up looking up every single thing that we're encountering to make sure that things make sense logically. Right? And so I definitely fact check and then fact check and then fact check. That's why some people are like, bro, you're contradicting yourself. Not really. Bro, listen, new information has the ability to legitimately change whatever you were saying a week ago. Like if there's brand new information, you cannot stand on the literal ignorance you had last week, bro. That's just not the reality of the scenarios here, right? So if I'm looking at something and I'm giving you my first opinion, let's say on what we're encountering, that's going to say, I'm going to basically say one thing. Then I'm going to go ahead and we'll do a deep dive on research, because again, I don't pre-watch videos, right? So we're going to do a deep dive and we're going to get as much information as humanly possible. So the next time we speak on the topic, we can speak coherently and with facts and details and things like this, guys.
Now, here's something we don't talk about enough. Stupidity isn't just frustrating. It's actually bad for your health. This is why I'm talking about it today.
Okay.
Whether you're the one engaging in it or just dealing with it, stupidity raises stress levels. It increases frustration, and it can lead to anxiety and high blood pressure. Have you ever had a conversation so dumb it gave you a headache? That is not just in your head.
Stress my God.
Hormones like cortisol spike when you are constantly dealing with nonsense. The solution? Step back, protect your peace, engage only when it's worth it. And remember, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to.
Right.
Take a breath, explore all the facts, research and fact check yourself or others before you blindly share information. Think critically, and most importantly, know when to let it go. There is no shame in letting it go.
Bro.
Look, at the end of the day, your opinions are your opinions and mine are mine, and that is perfectly fine. We just need to make sure that our opinions are truly our own, based on facts and careful thought, rather than
not echo chambered,
regurgitating someone else's nonsensical comments because they fit your internal bias. In a world overflowing with noise, let's strive to make informed choices, not just loud ones. John Wayne wisely said it best. Life is tough. It's even tougher when you're stupid. So let's all try to make it a little easier by thinking just a little bit more. And if this video gets me in trouble, well, at least I'll know I wasn't alone in noticing the obvious. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments.
All right, guys. Oh, this is a deep one here. I definitely don't think that this video is going to give her any type of strife. I love when people have the ability to sit down and then start speaking exactly what's on their mind, and specifically when these things are logical and they're kind of, without any type of flaw. I don't really see any flaw in her arguments here. We do kind of have a stupidity problem, bro. We do. There are a lot of people attempting to argue facts with feelings. It just seems to be the consistent thing that's going on specifically in on our political landscape, at least, and just in our day-to-day type of scenario. I think the only way we can actually get better is if we actually were to say, you know what? Example. Not like, hey, listen, this is my truth. No, this is the truth, right? I mean, we need to kind of get away from the concept of attempting to inject feelings into the literal truth of the matter and just fix the problems. Like, I think a lot of problems could be fixed if we were just able, if we were to sit down and be like, listen, hey, this is a problem for us. Maybe we should fix it. This is how we fix it, guys. I'm not trying to be too specific here, but like there are a lot of things that we can fix with just being logical and removing the illogical things out of the arguments, guys, right? There are a lot of things we can fix in the United States of America right now. Even when it comes to like the current tariff situation, guys. I seriously don't understand what's going on right now, right? I mean, in terms of like what the government is doing currently, that seems to be not even something excessive or right-leaning or left-leaning. It just seems to be, for me personally, the moderate position here. Hey, listen, these guys over here are taxing our products. They've been taxing our products, but we've never really done anything to stop their flow of movement to the United States of America. Maybe, just maybe, if they're going to do it, we should do it right back. But all right, but I don't know, guys. This is a lot of things that are just strange for me personally. But either way, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.